Hey guys, let's check out Behringer Odyssey analog synthesizer recreation of the famous Arp Odyssey. In this video, I'm going to just give you a quick tour, an overview, and the next videos will dive into more sound design, creating sound, getting to know the synthesizer even better. So let's get started. First, we have this Klark Teknik FX unit. Of course, it's not something you'll find in the original. We have two oscillators. So this is really a duo-phonic synthesizer, meaning you can play up to 2 notes at a time, so you can create like power chords. We also have modulation options for each of them, FM modulation, and we have pulse width. And then we also have some other things to manipulate and change the sound. For example, we have an LFO unit and we have sample and hold, which is a way for you to create random parameters or randomization, which you can use in different other modules, and I'll show you that. We also have noise. This is the noise here, and we have two filters. We have low pass filter, we have high pass filter, and all this area here, this is our mixer. This is where we're mixing the sound, and we'll talk about that in a moment. We also have our VCA gain, which will just input the sound continuously, and we'll see that also. And we have two envelopes. We have ADSR envelope and we have an AR envelope, and we can assign each of them to different modules, for example, to the filter or to our voltage control amplifier, to our VCA. Now, if I'm talking in terms that you are not familiar with, and this is not something you usually do, you don't know how to use a synthesizer, don't worry about it. I'm going to explain everything. So let's get started with some noise and we'll go from there. So first of all, I have my two oscillators here, and so we have VCO1 and VCO2, and they have two choices here. I mean, I can do a sawtooth or square wave for each of them. And what I'm going to do to get just familiar with this unit here, I'm going to use just VCO1. And it's already in tune, so it should be in tune. When I'm playing a C note, it will sound like a C note. And we have our delay plus reverb effect right now, and I can turn it on and off. I can just turn it off here, and this is how it sounds without and with. And we can change, for example, we can go to a church reverb. And now what I can do, I can have our VCF, our filter. This is a low pass filter, and just play with that and see how it affects the sound. And since we have our envelope engaged here, we have our AR envelope assigned to our filter, then that's like opening and closing the filter. So I'm going to show you that more later, but right now we can just go without this envelope. But what I can also do with this synthesizer is go 2 octaves up or down. Get that very fat and low sound. We can have both of these VCO, both of the oscillators playing at the same time. And I can also introduce some noise, for example. And now let's have the oscillators go with a square wave. or I can mix between them. And we also have portamento. And one more unit that I didn't cover yet is the sequencer and arpeggiator. And we can use this to, of course, automate and have some patterns. And I'm going to show you that in a separate video. But for now, let's do something real quick. So I can engage the arpeggiator and even have it on hold, meaning that it will keep on playing. And that's the idea here. And so now that we have like a basic idea of what this synthesizer can do for us, let's dive one step further and get to know the envelopes and why do we need them, how to use them, just in a kind of an overview. So this is our AR, our attack release envelope. And what I can do with this when it is assigned to, for example, in our case, to our filter, it will determine how fast the filter will open up and close. And if I'm setting my filter frequency all the way, almost all the way down, and I can also have my resonance, which is kind of a bump, a peak around the cutoff point where we're just cutting the frequencies. So now when we have our envelope engaged here for the filter, the envelope will open up and then close the filter. It will go and do that for us. So this is the kind of things that we can do. And of course, there's a lot of other things that you can do with envelopes. And now something else that we have is the LFO. So LFO, low frequency oscillator, meaning it is a device that oscillates through time, and I can use it to change other parameters. So for example, let's do again the filter. So what I can do here is I'm going to just go and use it to open and close our filter. And the rate, how fast it's going to go, it is determined by this slider here. So if you want to know what you can do with either the envelopes or the LFO, very easy. In this synthesizer, you'll see the signs. You'll see, for example, that we have modulation. The frequency modulation can be determined by the LFO. We can use the LFO to just do that kind of frequency modulation. And in that case, it means that we will change the pitch of the oscillator. So we can try that as well. And let's see. Now, the reason that we're just hearing sort of a chorusing effect or something in the background is because we have two oscillators and we are just affecting one of them and the other is just staying at the same pitch. So I can actually either just turn it off or do the same frequency modulation. And we can have both of them. Right, and that's the idea here. And let's go back to our just normal playing. Some other things that we have here is different types of filters. So we have a selector here, we have 2-pole, and we have other types of 4-poles. It means that the slope of the filter will be different. It will match the types of devices that it is going after. And the 2-pole is much more relaxed, and the 4-pole is sharp decline. So now let's have a quick look at the ADSR envelope. Right now it is assigned to our voltage controlled amplifier, and this is the selector here, because I can do either. I can have both the filter and the voltage controlled amplifier controlled by the same envelope or different. For me, it's just easier that way. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to just get everything down, and we'll go into sort of an init mode. Right, so what we have here is the attack, the decay, sustain, and the release. The attack, the amount of time it will take for the sound to reach its maximum velocity, the maximum sound or whatever, because again, I can use the envelope to just change and use it on different things here in different modules. But for now, we're talking about the amplitude, the sound of the VCA. So what we have here is the attack is all the way down, meaning it will go right away to the top. But if I'm just gonna slide this up, it will take more time for the sound to just go up in volume. And the release is how much time would it take for the sound to just fade away when I'm lifting my fingers from the keyboard. And then we have the decay and the sustain. So the sustain is the sustain level. So while I'm keeping my finger on the keyboard, we will be in the sustain level. But if I'll set it to somewhere in the middle, then after we go all the way up and we get to our maximum velocity determined by the attack, I mean, how much time would it take? We'll drop immediately to the sustain. But if we want this to be gradual, we'll have the decay. So the decay will be amount of time it takes for us to drop into the sustain. So that's something you can use again when you're doing some sound design, and we'll see that in the next videos when I'll show you some examples. And so let's again go back here and just set this something like this. So we'll have a sort of a longer release, and we can set the filter and get the resonance, get our envelope assigned here. And finally, I just want to show you something real fun, because normally you look at this kind of synthesizer and you see that it's pretty limited in the shapes of the oscillators. It's only, for example, a sawtooth and a square, but we can get this to do a sine wave, and that's pretty cool stuff. So I'm going to just turn off everything here and get this resonance all the way up, and it says here self-oscillate. And now when I'll play something, and I'm going to have the keyboard engaged as well, so now the keyboard is assigned to our filter as well. This is very important. And this is a pure sine wave. And of course I can dirty it up with some noise. And we can play with the LFO again, just for fun. And that's pretty much it. So I'll see you guys in the next videos where we explore more of this synthesizer and learning more about synthesis and sound design. So stick around. If you have any questions and you want to know more about this synthesizer, let me know again in the comments, and also let me know what you want to learn, what kind of things you want me to cover in the next videos, and I'll do my best to do that. And that's it. So I'll see you guys very soon. Thank you and bye-bye.